Sweet, what's up, guys? So, real quick, just so I can get a little bit of context, I'm just gonna rapid fire your names, and you can tell me what you're working on. Chris, just so I know and can kind of tailor my presentation a little bit. So, Chris Brown, what do you got going on?
I'm currently pushing to try and get a couple nonprofit clients to do some uptake on a event registration management system and hoping to spread that to more clients that are in the same space. Biggest challenge with that is they're nonprofits. It's a lot harder to make some good income streams in that particular niche. But that's where I'm at right now and getting my feet wet and cutting my teeth on building a SaaS that's not single tenant but multi-tenant, and it's really stretching my brain. So I'm also a software developer, so that's kind of I'm kind of really caught up in the details of the tech rather than just the business development. So I'm kind of struggling pushing myself into that space.
Cool, thanks for that. Christopher Lacey?
Yes. Right now, focused on two courses, two cooking courses, basically uh, two different kinds of bread baking, and very narrow, very niche, and something that I'm very familiar with. I'm not a professional chef, but I've done a lot of these and taught people how to do it. So right now I'm still putting the course together. I have a goal of getting it up online in some form this week, at least the first course, and probably on a Udemy course just to have it out there and see what the response is.
Cool, perfect. Thanks for that. Gabriel Hirschberger?
Hey Jordan, thanks so much. Yeah, I'm working on Facebook Messenger chatbots, and my niche is physical therapy clinic owners.
Right on. Very cool. Good niche to be in. Lisa Rodriguez? All right, I'm sorry, Luke?
Yeah, it's your namesake. I'm doing chatbots right now as well.
Sweet.
I don't really have a niche yet.
Cool. Noman?
Currently doing marketing automation consulting. Don't really have a niche yet. I just pick up projects as they come.
Great. Steven?
Hey, yeah, doing a couple things chatbot related. Women e-commerce, potentially. Well, we want to get into SaaS and chiropractors would be the main three for now.
Cool. Torben?
Hey, I'm doing consulting. At the moment is my core business, helping technology teams and businesses scale up. That's my core business, and I also have a lead generation through LinkedIn marketing business, which I keep trying to get rid of, but somehow people want it.
Dude, LinkedIn is fire as far as cold response rate goes. Brent?
Sorry, what was that?
LinkedIn's just a great space to be in as far as lead gen. Brent?
Yeah, no, I've used it for my own business, and now I'm helping other people.
Awesome. Brent. Cool. And then Ethan, we already talked. Awesome. All right. Well, let me share my screen real quick. I'll jump right into it. I do have a brief presentation, and I'll try and get through that as quickly as possible, along with a homework assignment for you guys. But really, I just want to get into Q&A as quickly as possible because I think that's going to add the most value to you guys. So this presentation, it was kind of tough because I wasn't entirely sure where you were all at in your businesses. Sounds like this is going to be relevant to where you are, though, so that's great. So basically, what I'm going to focus on over the next 3 to 5 coaching calls that I do is basically put you guys in a position to where you have everything that you need to build an automated customer acquisition funnel from scratch. And then you can use that whether you're driving leads from Facebook ads, which we'll get into on another call, whether you're driving leads from cold email, cold calling, whatever, you'll have a funnel in place that generates customers. So a little bit about me briefly. My name is Jordan Schumacher, like Natalie said. I live in Denver, Colorado. You guys can all see my screen, right? Okay, cool. I kind of got into this marketing game in 2014. I was working as a financial analyst and co-founded a paddleboard importing company with a friend of mine. We imported paddleboards from China and sold them. It was a super inventory intensive business, so we ended up selling that, but kind of bit me with the marketing bug. So I transitioned careers from finance into working at a marketing agency for some high-ticket e-commerce clients that you'd recognize at your local mall. Did that for about a year, realized I could do the same thing for myself. So I opened up shop for myself and started working with primarily local businesses and SaaS companies on lead gen. Did that for about a year, and now I'm working on their paid traffic acquisition, and that's where I'm at right now. So like I said, my goal over the next few calls is to give you everything you need to build an acquisition funnel for your business and your SaaS company. And at the end of this presentation, you're going to walk away with a step-by-step assignment to basically nail down your marketing hook and your value prop, which sounds really, really boring, but it is the key to building any sort of funnel or marketing campaign that actually attracts your core customer and actually gets them to convert profitably. Does that make sense so far? By the way, if anyone has any questions, please interrupt me. I would much prefer this to be a dialogue than me just talk forever. So first of all, like, what is a customer acquisition funnel? It sounds like a lot of you are already familiar with this, but basically a customer acquisition funnel is just a roadmap that is basically defines the journey that one of your prospective customer takes from never hearing about you and having no idea who you are to becoming a lead, interacting with you, and then ultimately to whether they're a free trial or a converted customer of some sort. It's just the roadmap that they follow from never hearing about you to becoming a customer.
Jordan.
What's up?
This is David. So these slides, did you share them with us?
Let me share the link with you guys. All right, I just dropped the link to the slides in there as well.
Thank you.
You bet. Cool. So why is having a customer acquisition funnel important to your business? Basically, like, the best analogy I have is that sales and marketing is a lot like dating. Like, you can go to a bar, you could walk up to someone and you could ask them to marry you, but it's not going to work out that well. Just like, you can cold call someone and ask them to buy your product. They're probably going to just hang up on you. If you have a marketing funnel, you have, top of funnel content that's like general, hey, here's a problem that you have, here's some solutions that we found for it. And then maybe off of that content, there's an opt-in to an ebook that goes into more detail on that product. And basically you're dating these prospects all the way through until you ultimately ask them to marry you, aka buy your stuff. And so basically that's the whole theory behind it. And so basically kind of the whole magic formula, if there is such a thing, to profitable customer acquisition is basically your lead cost times your conversion rate times your average order value times the frequency of those orders equals your overall profitability and your ability to acquire new customers at a profit. So if you can get your lead cost cheaper, if everything else stays the same, you're going to be more profitable. If your average order value goes up and everything else stays the same, you're going to be more profitable. If you get multiple points to improve, you're going to be exponentially more profitable. And so on this presentation, we're focusing on the conversion rate and only on the conversion rate because basically, even though like I am paid traffic and that's what I do and that's what I'm like on this call for, it doesn't, paid traffic, Facebook ads, they don't magically make your business scale profitably despite what every Facebook guru on Facebook tries to tell you. If you don't have a funnel that converts, if you don't have a system that is profitably acquiring customers already, then trying to run traffic to that is just like setting your money on fire. Like, all paid traffic does is it scales the existing results in your business. So it's important that you build a foundation, you build a funnel that converts, and that's why we're starting with your marketing hook and the value prop for your software. So the first thing that we need to understand as we're diving into building out your value prop and your marketing messaging and getting this all established, which, by the way, I don't know if all of you saw, but at the very top of the chat, I dropped a link to a sheet that looks like this. Oh, it looks like a few of you are in here. Great. So if you want to hop into this sheet, you can start to fill out some of this as we go. Ideally, you'll take 30 minutes to an hour on your own time to fill out this sheet, but we'll just kind of walk through this sheet and how to fill it out. And so basically, the most important thing that you can understand about marketing is that people don't buy their way into anything. People buy their way out of things. And that's especially true for B2B sales, but it's also true for consumer sales, right? And so basically what this means is that people buy things to solve problems. And so you're never going to hear a business owner think that, oh, I'm sitting around and I just want another software to buy or another tool to buy for my business. Like, the only reason that a business owner is going to buy something is if they have an existing problem that they're trying to solve, and so they will buy something to solve that problem. And so basically, all of your marketing messaging, it needs to be based around your product's ability to solve your prospect's existing problem. And so what you can do right now, if you already know the answer to this, or you can do later when you're taking some time to think about it, is just write down in a sentence or two the core problem that your primary customers are currently facing that your product solves. So like for me, I don't have a SaaS product, but I'm a service-based business, right? And so for me, the core problem that my clients have that I solve is they can't consistently and reliably acquire new customers at a profit. And so that's the problem that they have. It's an expensive problem, and so they hire me to solve that problem for them. And so for you and your SaaS, it's going to be different, obviously, but you can write that down. And so basically, good marketing, good messaging, like when you boil it down, good marketing describes the move from your prospect's before state, which is the problem that they have before your software solves it, to their after state, which is this utopia, life is so much better, and like everything is just amazing after using your product. And so the goal of every piece of messaging that you do, whether you're talking to a client one-on-one, whether you're writing a blog post, whether you're doing a PR article, the goal of any good marketing is to just communicate that movement from their before state to their after state. And so a really simple exercise to do to sort of define that and flesh it out, and believe me, like filling stuff out on a worksheet seems super lame, but I really can't overemphasize how important it is and how helpful it will be as you build out your marketing campaigns. And so just go through your before state and just like describe your ideal customer and the problems that they face before using your software. So like for me, I'll do this for my own business. So my core customer's problem is they can't consistently and reliably acquire new customers at a profit. So their average day is spent doing things like thinking of promotions to run, testing multiple acquisition channels, trying to keep revenue and profitability up. It's causing them stress. Go ahead.
Jordan, how far along are the companies you're usually working with? Like, are they like well established in having these problems, or are these kind of like growing pains? I don't know if you mentioned that already.
Yeah, that's a great question. So this exercise is 100% for startups whether you found product market fit or not. As a startup, you're obviously gonna learn as you go, and so this will change, and that's fine. My clients are usually on the scaling side, so they're usually spending somewhere between 10 to 100K a month on ads. But this exercise is just as relevant for someone spending 100K a month on ads as someone who is just bootstrapping. Did that answer your question?
Oh yeah, totally. Thank you.
Cool. So yeah, so for my average client, they're basically trying to figure out ways to sell more consistently. It's causing them a lot of stress because they haven't solved that problem, and so there's a lot of ups and downs in their business. They can't model out their financial forecasts at all because they're not consistently generating sales, which it's basically the future is a big question mark for them. It's costing them a lot of money because again, they haven't solved the problem of generating sales consistently. The ups and downs in business causes them to have to hire and fire employees. You get the picture. Relationships, stressful with employees. Stressful with family because instead of being at home and present, they're thinking about their business all the time, etc. And so basically, you're going to go through your before column, and you're just going to put yourself in the mind of your prospective customer and just paint a very dark picture of where they're at right now because they can't solve their problems because they don't have your product. Then you're going to go through in the after, and you're going to describe how much better their life is now that they've used your software. So for me, after their ideal after is they have sales come in, on autopilot, predictably, and they can scale or decrease just by pushing a button. They feel much more in control, stress-free, confident about the outcome of their business. They're making way more money at a greater profit. And then as far as relationships go, they're just all around better people to be around because they're not stressed, etc., etc. And so this gives you then an idea as to okay, it basically just helps you shape your conversations around your product at any interaction you have with a prospective customer. And so then this is something that I would highly recommend you do after this call on the worksheet, is to just set aside between 30 minutes or 60 minutes and write 1 to 3 pages describing the typical day and mindset of your customer in their before state and before they've had a chance to solve their problems. A few questions that you can answer is just in the first person, write down what my typical day is like as my ideal customer, what I'm worried about, how it's impacting all aspects of my life, and then how it will continue impacting me for the next 6 months, 1 year, 3 year if I don't solve this problem, and if this problem just continues to build. And so by the end of that, if you do that for if you write 1 to 3 pages, you're gonna have a really, really, really concrete, solid picture of the state of mind that your prospects are in right now, which will allow you to use your marketing copy that we're going to get into in another call, your landing pages, it will speak directly to them, which is incredibly important when you start running paid traffic and start spending money to actually acquire more customers. And so then once you're done with kind of defining that whole before state, then do the same thing on their after state and how great their life is. So basically, you just use this as a springboard and then just go deep on this for 1 to 3 pages. And so once you do all of that, it should be pretty easy for you to define your value prop in a single sentence, 1 or 2 sentences. And that value prop can be defined as I help target market get the results that your SaaS gets so that your customers can do this thing. So like for me, I help business owners create predictable revenue and consistent growth so that they have more income, more certainty, and spend time working on their business, doing things they love, instead of in it doing things they hate. And so like this is a super concise way. Like you could use this as the headline on your website. Like this is just a really, really concise way of telling people what you do and the problems that you solve in a language that they understand and that they care about. Because at the end of the day, like your customers, no customer cares about the features that your software has. No customer cares about me, the services that I do, the things that I do. All they care about is the results that I get them. All they care about is like ultimately whether or not there's an ROI. And the same applies for your customers, whether you're a B2C product or a B2B product. Does that make sense?
Yeah, this makes a lot of sense. I think not exactly the same way, but in a similar way, put something like that up on my landing page for realtors. It was I help get realtors and brokers 8 times the qualified leads with predictable and automated systems. And so this would be kind of like a tweak as far as like a more benefit to the customer at the end of it.
Yep, 100%. Yeah, and I'm like what you just said is pretty much exactly this. Yeah, a good rule of thumb in marketing is obviously this starts out with the word I, but in any marketing copy you put in, if you replace the word I with the word you, that's usually going to be a better message. Just because, like, as soon as if I get up here and I say, "Hey guys, I'm a paid traffic consultant. I manage a lot of Facebook ads and AdWords, and I build landing pages and automated email funnels," like none of you care. But if I'm like, "Hey guys, like, here's what you need to do for your SaaS startup to define your marketing message, build an automated acquisition system so that you can scale faster, more profitably, and ultimately, make this something big," like you care way more about that. And the same thing applies for you guys as you're talking to your prospective customers. So that's the end of the presentation. Is there any questions on this presentation that I can go into? Otherwise, we can open it up for just a general Q&A because, like I said, I didn't have a lot of context coming in on what you guys wanted to know more about.
Yeah, could I just get a general definition of what a automated acquisition is, just to refresh me?
Yes, great question. So automated acquisition is just a fancy way of saying like building a marketing campaign that generates what's your SaaS product again?
I am just starting out.
Cool. Okay, so let's
join the competition. I'm just like looking into markets right now. I haven't done any cold calls yet.
Right on. Cool. Okay, so an automated acquisition campaign is just a marketing funnel, a marketing campaign that brings you customers on autopilot. So an example, let's say you're building the next Dropbox. A potential automated acquisition campaign would be a Facebook ad saying, "Hey, share your files with anyone." You click on the ad, you go to a landing page. The landing page call to action is, input your email for a free trial. You input your email, and now all of a sudden you're a Dropbox trial user. And then, there's going to be several automated emails that you get over the next week or month that ultimately encourage you to upgrade to a paid user. That's an example of an automated acquisition funnel.
Gotcha. And so you use this mainly after the software has been created, but can you use it before also when you're pre-selling?
So for the automated acquisition side of it, yes, this process 100%. I recommend whatever stage you are, you do this because this will help you get clarity on who you're targeting, and this will help you get clarity on how you communicate the value of your SaaS to your target market. As far as running ads to something, you can, but that's a lot more risky just because there's so many more variables there. I only recommend running ads until you have a landing page that's proven to convert and a funnel that's proven to convert. So as far as like a paid traffic side, that's probably down the road after you get product market fit. As far as a market message side and building out a website that kind of communicates those values and gets people to sign up, 100% you can do that at any stage.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Noman, if you're not able, I could read it. Noman asked, Jordan, is this only for our prospects, or can it be applied for getting qualified leads to come to us? I guess that might have been similar to the last question.
Yeah, so the two are the same. 100% it can be used for both. Like, could you give me a little bit more context around that question? I don't know if I'm understanding it.
Noman, can you jump on?
Yeah, I'm here. I can't really speak right now, but essentially, in my case, my context is I'm just starting my consulting business, right? So, can I build a client acquisition funnels or client acquisition system targeting people or business owners in my niche that I'd like for them to come to me and hire me to build out similar systems for them? That was my question, really.
Yeah, 100%. So, like, obviously the actual funnel mechanism would be a little different because you're not a SaaS. Like, that's not a SaaS, right? There's no free trial, most likely. I don't know the details of your service, but a great example of that would be whether you write a blog post or run an ad to a webinar with the call to action at the webinar being, book a consultation call with me. We can walk through what you're doing right now. I can list out a few things that you can improve on. And, oh, by the way, if you want me to help, I'm happy to. Did that answer your question? Sweet.